All right, so we are going to be doing another session today on Compass tours. I don't know if anybody joined my last one, but just, it's the same session, might go through things a little bit differently, but for the most part, be the same thing. So if you join that one, just want to let everybody know it's going to be the same one. Any questions that I can answer right off the bat or make sure that I go over with Compass tours? It should be pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be too difficult to kind of grasp. We should only need about probably 20 minutes on this, but let me know if there's anything specific that you want me to go through. Not much. All right, well, if you have questions, as always, just unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. All right, so this person in. Okay. So for tours, it is obviously something that's a great asset for us to use, makes it look a lot better when you're actually sending this out to clients of what we're going to go and preview or look for that upcoming weekend. I also use client tours. Sometimes if I just have a big round of previews and I just make it for myself, so it's really easy to follow. So definitely a really great asset that I think that we have here. So this is actually where you get to tours. You go into workspace, down to tours, and it'll bring you over to this. It'll show you your most recent tours that you've done or created, and it keeps all of them as well. Something important to note, and I'll show you obviously how to make a tour, but if you embed the client within the tour, this is something else that will go into their business tracker, portal folder, I'll call it, underneath that client. So it's another thing to kind of keep all in one place, which is really great. One feature that has not been working for me for about 6-7 months now is the showing time feature within tours, which I've flagged 100 times. I'm like, bring it back, because even when I'm in the Compass app, I can't even go on showing time and book something. So I'm sure a lot of us are having that same kind of glitch in there. So I'm hoping that that gets resolved, because that used to be a really great place to actually go in and build your schedule for the weekend, as opposed to just having it look great. It was actually very user-friendly to be able to leverage it from that way. So I would probably say you're going to start out in a collection. At least this is where I will typically start out when I'm going in to make the tour. So if I were going into Jason and Jean's collection right here, and let's say I'll just do the tour that we did this weekend. So let's say he wanted to go and see 46 Old Escalita, 93 Boughton. This one's already in contract. Say they want to see 162 Kitchewan and 4 Salem Lane. So I think you don't have to create a tour from here, but I do think it's much easier if you're starting from this section, because you're probably already discussing, let's say this, in a perfect Compass world, you person in your CRM, you put them into your collection, and then you guys are talking about the houses you want to go and see there. And then you can also create your client tour directly from that portal, which will make it much easier. So let's say I had those 4 that we were going to go and see. You go up here into tour options, and you'll see it has the showing time icon. That's not working right now. You can do add to tour or mark as visited. So if I had, let's say, just gone and saw 4 of these for them, or, and I didn't use a tour for the previous weekend, if you want to be able to label them as mark as visited, you can also have that option as well. For the sake of this, I'm going to say add to tour. So from here, I would do new, Jason and Jean. I don't think it accepts and signs. Oh, it does now. Okay, so Jason and Jean, just say Saturday, April. Is that April or is that March? I don't know. I'll say March 30th. I think that's what Friday is, or March 31st. I don't know, whatever. Tour. And I usually like to put in the date there, because if I just do Jason and Jean tour, then every time I'm obviously taking them out, I'll get a little bit confused of which tour I'm actually talking about. And then you'll see here, anybody who is in the collection is automatically, this is automatically linked to that client's CRM card, I'd say, in Business Tracker. So this is what I'm talking about embedding a client in there. This happens to be a referral from 2 of my great colleagues in Southern Westchester. So I'm going to delete them out of that, because really no need for that. So most of the time you'll just have yourself, and then the 2 clients or the 1 client. Go ahead and click on the day, the 30th. I'll edit that because I'm OCD. March 30th tour, and you could even say like South Salem tour. Maybe it's like a town, whatever you want to do. And then I'll go down here and I'll press submit. So now this just made my tour. So I'll probably go through and kind of move around. Previously, showing time made this a lot easier. It'll look like I can do showing time, but if you guys have ever tried this, it bounces back and says can't schedule it. So it used to be much easier where I could actually go in and request, and then it would say pending until it actually confirmed. Now it just will stay pending, or it just won't even go. So there's one extra step that you have to do now. My first step is just making the tour. So probably make a route that makes the most sense. I probably wouldn't go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd probably go and move let's move Kitchewan probably down. And that's how you do it. You just drag this box up and down from here. And now I think that tour maybe makes a lot more sense for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The rest of them are pretty close together. And then you can just kind of put in, let's say they gave me from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I think we'll start here at 10, probably need about 15, 30 minutes. Very close to the next one. We could probably even start that one at 10:30 because I'll finish up early, whatever. You guys know how to make a tour. And then what I like to do here, I don't know why this one's not giving me the option. Usually it'll give you the option of pending or confirmed. I don't know why it's not popping up there, but usually it should. So what I like to do is just like a best practice while showing time's not working is I'll put all of them as pending. And then as I get my showing time confirmations from the MLS or the showing time app, however you want to do it, then I'll go through and start confirming them. And then this same thing, plug in all the times. So it's 10, 11, say 11:15 to 11:45, pending. And then maybe 12 o'clock, whatever. 11:45 to 12:15, pending. You can also click this optimize route. I'm not going to do that right now. It's a fine way of doing it, but I just feel like for me, I'd rather know, maybe if I want to drive by a town park, I'd rather put one before the other, not maybe optimize it in my way, not just the way that the AI is saying it, but you can always try that if you want to as well. And then add a meeting location if you're meeting at a house, or if you're meeting, maybe you're taking them in their car and you want to put in the train station, you can always plug that in right there. So I'll just say, I don't know if this is gonna, whatever. I think you actually have to put like the actual address in there. If you're in like the city and maybe you're starting your walk from a place to the other, maybe that makes more sense. So you can plug whatever you want in there. And then what you used to be able to do is if you had showing time here, I know a lot of this is kind of like my favorite part about this was the fact that you could do showing time in this, but if that ever comes back, hopefully it will, then it would basically say you could, it's like a blue button here and it would just say like request tours. And then that would basically merge your showing time account in with the tour here. And as they got accepted, it would automatically update your tour. So you could just kind of like click it and leave. Now it takes obviously that one more step of, okay, you get the confirmation via text, go back in here, and then I would change this to confirmed. So let's say I just did that. I get all these confirmed. Great. Again, I don't know why that top one's not doing it, but I'll leave that alone. That one should also say it. And then here, now my tour sheet is complete. I can add a little note into here if I wanted to. So I can either add a private note, which will be on my agent tour sheet, or I can add a client note, which will be reflected on their client tour sheet. So I don't know if it's, let's just say, so like when I went and toured this house, there was a gate. If you arrive before me, there is a front gate that you can open and I will close it when I leave. Maybe there's an access code or something like that they need to get through. So you can leave anything like that there that you want as well. Let me just check. Let me see this. Sorry, I'm just going to answer a question. Kate, what if the client has multiple collections, one for each city? Can we add more tours from another collection? Like, would you be trying to make one for another city that's not yours? Or
So-
unmute.
Yeah, hi Kate, it's
Hi.
Debbie. So there's different like subdivisions. So like, the city of Danville might be one, and then
Yep.
they go to San Ramon. I mean, it's like 10 minutes apart. But I did separate collection. I did a collection for Danville and I did a
Okay.
collection for San Ramon. We would be continuing on, like we'll do all the Danville first, and then we want to do all the San Ramon. So that's when I was wondering, can we then go to their San Ramon collection and add those to this tour?
To the same tour, yes. So you can, I didn't know if it was like another agent you had referred or something like that. So
No,
if it's
nope.
all yours and
Yeah.
like, Danville to somewhere else, exactly. This will allow you to add any listings up here. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go back for a second. So that's one way you could do it, add them manually. It's gonna be linked to the MLS and every other feed on here. So if you had like another two that you wanted to add in a separate subdivision that are in another collection, you can either search by the address or the MLS number and get them in this way. But
Okay.
I do want to test something really quickly since we're gonna have a few extra minutes here anyway. So if I went into just someone else's collection, let's take Tony and Larry here. And I did, let's just say I wanted to take them to this one. I don't know, I need to go into shared, hold on. This one, tour options, add to tour.
Yep.
Let's see if it'll give me the option. If it wants to work today. It knows what I want to do. It's just like, I'm not going to load for you. Yes. I'm hoping obviously that, yes, Jason and Jean right
Okay, so
here.
you could go to theirs and then add it
Yep.
to it
And now
by
this
the
should be
date.
down here at the bottom.
Okay,
Yep,
perfect.
exactly.
Thank
So
you.
for you, obviously, if you have, three different, like for these clients, honestly, Jason and Jean's a good example. They also have a Southern Westchester tour collection set up with these other agents that had referred. So maybe if we were both showing them things on Saturday, we could maybe feed into the same tour even if I wanted to invite the agent
Yeah,
into this. And then we could collaborate and make it all kind of look very seamless for them on one tour.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and especially if you have any like team, it's actually a good question because it opens up a few things. So if you have a team agent that you're working with, or if you're kind of partnering on this with someone else and you're maybe making the tour together, especially if you have like these big tours sometimes that are like 10 properties and you're both like, okay, you go get those 5 confirmed, I'm gonna go get these 5 confirmed. You can kind of come together and everyone can start to add and manipulate this to reflect as such. Cool. Does the tour update in real time should a home go pending? Yes, I want to say yes, but it won't remove it from the tour. So you have to go in and remove from the tour. So just keep an eye on, I would say like, I don't know, best practice for me is like, I probably won't actually make this tour until like 2 days before. So I should have a pretty good idea of if something's going to go pending before that Saturday. And then in which case you just remove it from there. Or you keep it on and maybe you go do a drive-by anyway, so the client can see the house, whatever makes the most sense for you. So that is basically how to set everything up. From here, you can press add to calendar. My Google should be all hooked up. So this will, you'll see automatically my Google, my Gmail's connected to this. So this can go into my calendar from here and it'll already plug in the title, which is the title of the tour, the date, the time, because again, remember I put that from a certain time block. So we're touring from 10 to 12:15. And then it's putting in my starting location, excuse me. And then in the notes, it'll put in my tour schedule. So it'll give me the address and the time. And then underneath, it also gives me the listing agent's contact, both phone and their email address, which is really helpful when you're going on tour and you're like, oh my God, the gate's not opening. Where's Mark? I can find him in there instead of losing my mind in front of the client, which is usually another best practice of mine is not to lose my mind in front of the client. Can't always help it. And then here you can always add in the client. So if your client's very tech savvy or you think that they would follow this calendar invite really well, you can add them into this as well. Or like Debbie and I were just talking about, if you have maybe another agent with you or someone else who wants access to this, you could always do that from there. Maybe you have an assistant, maybe they want to be in there so they can also help you when you're on tour. Anybody you want to be in this calendar invite can be on there. And then you'll see at the bottom here, this is a link that I'm going to copy and paste here just to show you what that looks like. This is, I think, a really great feature. So you don't really have to think about plugging in a route. With navigation these days, I'm sure we've all been there, like you get to a house that has no service and you're like, how do I get to the next house? There's no service from here. This is a really nice thing to do so that you already have this plugged in to Google Maps, and it'll automatically plug in the first house, second house, third, and fourth, so that you can just kind of follow this on your phone. And what's nice about Google Maps, even though I am like an Apple Maps user, as soon as you hit a destination, it automatically prompts you to go to the next one. So it'll keep you moving from like A, B, C, and D locations on there. So a bunch of really good features that can come from this Google Drive, from the Google Calendar invite.
How did you get that?
I pressed add to calendar.
Oh, right there on the button. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
And then I'm not as tech savvy as others. So when you hit add to calendar, then you get the link. I'm not following why this is great, because this is, again, some people work on their desktop. It sounds like you work off of your phone. So this works best for the link. Again, trying to follow what you just said, because you said it kind of quickly. If I do all of this in my desktop, how is that supposed to help me and follow in Google Maps? I get what you're showing me, but I'm missing something. So do you do
I'd be happy to go
that
through it again.
I'm sorry?
I said I'd be happy to go through it again. So
It's not that I didn't see you, it's because I saw it, but I'm not following. When you send this link, is it to a phone? So somebody can follow on a phone? Is it, because I do all of the tour stuff through a desktop and then I
Me too.
send it to my client. So
yeah.
how
So
is that supposed to help them live?
So I started on a desktop as well, but obviously when I'm moving around in the car, I don't have my laptop or desktop with me. So this then prompts it to go to my phone. So the next step, and I'm just going to go through, it's not that you didn't see it, just going to go through it again so I can explain my logic a little bit more.
So you don't print anything and take it with you?
I'll get to that as well. This is just the add to calendar button, so I'll get to that in a moment. So when you press add to calendar, the next window on my desktop that's going to pop up, just need to move this over, is going to be this calendar invite. So this is what gets prompted. Because I also have the Google Calendar app on my phone, when I am out with clients and I have this calendar invite saved, let's just pretend on my phone, I'd see that. It would look pretty much the same way. When I go on to that, I now, in the notes of this calendar invite, I'm able to keep track of all the different listing agents and all their contact information underneath each listing that I'm showing to my clients that day. So if I need easy access to them, that's what makes it really easy. And then another benefit, obviously, is that I have this link into Google Maps. So if I click that link on my phone, it's going to prompt it to open the Google Maps app. And now that provides me with the navigation for the day.
Got it. So just to clarify, because I have an Apple phone as well, but I use the Apple Calendar, but you're saying for me to access this, I actually have to open up the Google Calendar app that's tied to Compass, not the Apple one. And all of these features are there. Okay. I learned something new today, Kate. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. So I think, and this is like why I usually say I used to be like such an Apple user with everything. Keeping everything, switching it over to like either Chrome or Google Maps or Google Drive, having all of that there, that's really what the Compass system works off of. So I've just kind of learned to love it as well. So it will make it all kind of work together a lot easier.
Well, I think that was a big disconnect for me and other people, because we're like, but I have an Apple and I don't see what you're doing. So thank you for walking through.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you for stopping me. I hope that answered. If anybody else had that same question, I hope that answered it, but please let me know if you need me to go through something again. Always happy to do that. Great. Okay. So next step, move this down from here. So let's say you just made that into your Apple, I'm sorry, not into your Apple, into your Google Calendar. Now you would go in and you can press share tour sheet, and you can either share the digital tour sheet or you can share a PDF. This is what I've always done. And I know I got this question before, Wendy. I think maybe even you had asked this last time we had this call, but I really like to download this as a PDF. And then I share it with my client in a separate email, like a night before the tour or 2 nights before the tour, whatever, you know, the timing's kind of looking like on that. So few things you can do to add in here, add yourself as the agent. Of course, if you have 2 agents with you, or if you're partnering with somebody, you can add both of you as well. And now my information goes right over here on the front. If you have any introductory notes, I'm just gonna put in a few things here. That's where it will go. And then down here, I'm gonna download this as the client version as opposed to the agent version. Because if you'll remember, I left something called a client note in the tour. That's only gonna be reflected on a client version of the tour sheet. If I had left myself private notes, it's called, then I would be printing myself an agent version. So maybe this is lockbox codes or anything like that, that you only want to see yourself. Or, you know, multiple offers have already been presented and you only want to know that maybe you don't want that to be on that client facing one. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So that's that. That's really all you have to do here. You can click this email button here if you wanted to email it directly to them. This is not what I do, but you can do this. And then you can write your email in here and it'll give them this link to open this up in a separate browser. And you would just say, you know, looking forward to seeing you Saturday, whatever you want to say in this email. You'd send it to your client here, change out the subject probably to, you know, Saturday's March 30th, Northern Westchester tour, South Salem tour. The reason why I don't like to do that is because since it's embedding a hyperlink, you need service or you need Wi-Fi to be able to open that email. So for me, what I found is better is actually downloading this as a PDF, putting it into a separate email a few nights before. This way clients actually have this PDF that they can reopen or download once and then save it to their phone. You can do the same thing by clicking that link, but it's now one more step for the client to open that in a separate browser and then go and download it, as opposed to if you ever received like an email with an attachment at the bottom of like an image or something, and you can just click it and it's embedded in that email. I found that that works a little bit better for my clients. But if you want to do it the other way, nothing wrong with that at all. This is just a Kate preference that people usually ask me about. So from here, make sure I'm not missing anything. I'll press print. I'm not actually printing it. I'm just downloading it as a PDF. And now I'm working in Google Chrome. So you'll see up here in this little download button, I now have access to this all as a PDF. So I can definitely print this, which a lot of the times I will. So you can print this and give it to the client on the day of the tour. I also will be sending them an electronic version. You never know what people prefer. I like to do both just to make sure. And then I just press, you know, either print, or I could download this again if you wanted to. And then if you're in Google Chrome, you can just drag this right out of here like that to your desktop. And I'm going to show you just to say I've done it. Sorry if this is very, you know, redundant for people, but if I were to open up my email here and I press compose, this is where I would probably write my emails just because this is how I do it. And I would just put this in there as an attachment in the email. So if anybody, I usually don't hear that many people who like email directly out of the Compass platform, like on an everyday basis. Yeah, if you're doing bulk messenger or something, I think a lot of us probably operate in, you know, the Gmail or Apple Mail or something like that. So this is where I would put that. And now that's as an attachment in the email, it's embedded there. So sorry, there's a lot of words for a really small task, but I hope that makes sense. And then you send that off and it's done. Print a copy for myself, print a copy for the client, whoever, you know, you want to, or you can email them, you know, that digital link just by pressing email as well. And then that's your tour. That's the whole thing.
Hey, Kate, quick question.
Yeah.
I didn't see, how did the listing agent information ultimately get added into there? If it's not in show, if you're not doing it through showing time, I just didn't see where how that got added.
Yeah. Is it the listing agent information in the calendar invite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I think, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go back one step, share my screen. Okay. So go back to edit itinerary. And then when I just press add to calendar, this is obviously what comes up. So it's pulling all of this information just from the Compass platform, which is obviously feeding in from the MLS, or if you don't have an MLS, wherever it's feeding in from being manually inputted. So this is just pulling it directly from there. This is not something that Showing Time was ever giving to us. It was
Okay.
always coming directly from Compass and from
Okay.
the listings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Kate, I have a question regarding showing time, and I think it's because I've never used it before. I've always done this
Okay.
stuff manually. So am I to understand that that is a separate third-party app that some people throughout the country were using?
yes. It's still something that, I mean, my MLS is completely based off of showing time. So that's how we request all of our showings, and get them approved. I think a majority of the MLSs, if I'm correct, are also using that throughout the country. But you might be in a place where that's just not the customary thing to use, I guess. But yes, it is a completely third party thing, but it really only works if the agents around you or the listing agents around you are obviously using it as well in your MLS.
Right, and isn't that set up by the listing agent, right?
It is, yep,
Okay, all right, thank you.
yep, yeah, absolutely.
Kate, Kate,
Yes.
it's Abby.
Hi, Abby.
Okay, I just actually did a tour yesterday.
Great.
Couple things. One is when you share, you can share the digital. You don't have to share the PDF. Why don't you do that? Like, so what I did is I shared the digital format and then I showed up with the hard copy when I met
Mhm.
her.
That's totally fine to do. Yep.
So show them the digital. And then the other thing was on the PDF, when page by page of listing, it doesn't have the address on it. Did you notice that?
Let me go see.
Because we were like in the car and we're like, wait, what's the address? And we flip back to the page one. It's sort of funky.
So this is what I have. Mine are all saying the
Oh, no, but
address.
this is the client. Go down.
Yep.
Is that the agent or the client?
This is the client version.
Okay, never mind. On mine, for some reason, maybe it was just a weird
I don't know,
glitch.
maybe just that day it was glitching. I don't
Mhm.
know. Yep, and I think you did ask I think this was a question, but this is why I share the PDF versus the link. Was that one of your questions, Abby?
I just wanted you, can I
Okay.
see, okay, so let's say you're gonna share I understand why you do it. I was just curious to see what it looked like when you share
The
like,
link itself,
let's go back, yeah.
so
Okay, so
let's go to share
tour.
tour sheet, share digital. Sorry, I have all of you guys in the way I keep moving you over. So if I were to get this email, let's just open up this link
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
It's giving this to them, which is fine. I think when you're on like a browser too, you can also download this as a PDF. I don't know if maybe I just clicked the wrong button.
But my question to you is, why don't you want to send them the digital, which seems more, today, the way that people like it this way versus sending them a PDF of the stagnant one?
Honestly, it's just what's always worked well for me. I think people really like having listing sheets. So having all that information there
Oh.
as like a one sheet works a lot
Thank
better.
you so much.
And it makes it a lot easier for me to kind of find the information for them as opposed to them opening this up, having to scroll through the app and whatnot. I think when we're actually on tour, I'd rather just see all the information very similarly to like an MLS one sheet, which I also use quite frequently. So that
Right.
could just be because also I grew up in the business. So I've been printing MLS one sheets since I was 6 years old, and that's what I learned on. But maybe for other people, it makes more sense to do it the other way. This is just something that works for me.
Look how ginormous that map is, though, when they click on it. It's a map
I know.
more than you
And
see.
you said they added,
I know.
it's just the sunroom
And that could be
they
the
added
desktop
that extra
version.
square feet, or is that also basement?
I think.
All
No,
right.
it's just, the write-up just says,
Perfect.
it includes.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, then I
Kate, I have a
will.
question really quick.
Sunroom.
Sure.
Thank you.
It just sounds like there's somebody talking in the background. I don't,
Yeah, it does. I don't know. Let
okay.
me see.
So I sent you a little note, but you were, anyway,
Let me
if
see.
showing
Hold on.
time is not working,
Yes.
if showing time here where we live, showing time is booked solid all the time. Every day you're trying to fight for an appointment. So if we set a tour up 2
okay.
days ahead of time, so say I'm on a tour like this, if we're not connected to showing time and we're not getting in, we won't get in. So, and I know that showing time is owned by Zillow and there's some stuff going on right now, but normally are we synced with showing time on the, I never use this process with Compass because it's so hard on Bainbridge Island to get an appointment.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
even have overlapping appointments, so we
Yeah.
can't do it days ahead, no way. So is showing time just down right now as far as our platform, or is it down completely? What's going on with it?
Yeah, no, definitely not down completely. I use it every day.
Yeah, me too.
It's just not
Okay.
merging in with Compass for some reason right now. I know that they've been working on it for quite a few months. And
Okay.
then I forget what your other question. Oh, so for your question of, like best practices of using it, I would literally
Where? Who is this woman on here? Look at this. This is so disorganized. She's gone. She's been thrown off. And I've got this.